upon, the statute of the law and section 135, and he gave his reasons. Now, it's a month, at least 30 days of the emergency rule, and not just about the emergency rule, it suspended principal officers, the governor, the deputy, the House of Assembly members, and appointed Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired as the sole administrator. It's a month, and many things has happened with the suspension or relieving of appointees of the government, all of them, of their duties. We've seen a couple of high-ranking officials resign, and then he has appointed sole administrator in charge of local councils as well, which is still generating revenue. Now, we learned 2 days ago the House of Representatives summoned him, to come and explain or to tell them his workings and operations so far, and especially some of the things people are talking about. There have been calls for his removal. There have been calls for the president to rescind his decision, about the emergency rule have been issued. And in fact, the workings of Vice Admiral Ibas retired, and one or two persons are saying he is even going beyond what the president told him to do, especially in that nationwide broadcast. But we'll get there. But then we'd like to review the last 1 month and what it has been for the people of Rivers State and watchers of democracy. We have with us, a pro-democracy, activist. He's a comrade, Larry Fadam. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Fabian.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be with you.
Yes, it's a month of emergency rule in Rivers State. 6 months was given by the president. And, as they say in Nigeria, like play, is a month already. And many developments have happened in that state, some of which I've read out earlier. As a pro-democracy person and as a watcher, keen watcher of what is happening in the nation, how will you describe what has happened in Plateau State? I mean, in River State in the last 1 month under Vice Admiral Ibas?
Well, for me, I will not fault Vice Admiral Ibas in any way, because it is from a foundation of laws, regulations, and stipulations. They rule by force. They are trained to be managers of force and violence. You understand? So him is in a terrain that he should be, and his style is the way he's been trained. Now, for him to be appointed by an affirmed Democrat is now the grouse I have. When people want to start making comparisons, they will say, General Olusegun, you call him General Olusegun Obasanjo. So if you call a military person, you should understand he has a constituency before becoming a Democrat. So for somebody who was a sworn enemy of military administration at any level to have appointed one, and we are now asking why is the person derailing? Because deliberately the president, in part of his statement, while calling Ibas into Rivers, said directives from me. So where did we see a written direction towards what Ibas has been doing? Do you get? So to me, it's like most people talk about, let's look at another democratic system for Africa, different from what the West is bringing to us, And I don't think diarchy is the ideal, because you are looking at two people, the governance by two people or two groups, two sides to just one coin. All other sides won't really matter. Now, in all of this, to some are interpreting it as, well, it's a backdoor takeover of Rivers because Fubara did not play ball to his godfather, and then you sweep off all democratic arrangements, and some wiki somewhere can tell Mr. President, so the next thing we are going to do you get the drift? Because it's looking like that. People have reasons to believe that even Ibas is close to wiki. And so you'll be wondering, that is happening, and some assembly members were in London with wiki. Do you get? Some are saying we have taken over. If he's going to a local government setting where the current administration is saying, unless elected, you cannot operate, you cannot expend on account of those local government councils. Do you get the drift? So now this person is taking that move to say, ordinarily for an administrator with military training that has not been taken over by the political shenanigans, and Ibas was to enter Rivers and work with administrators, those who are civil servant administrators at every level. You get the drift? The most senior civil servant will be acting almost more like the deputy governor's roles and other functionalities. For the assembly, it should have relied on, for the local governments, talk to heads of local government administration. That, okay, come, there's a meeting. Nobody will fault that. Do you get? Okay, there's an approving limit that they have for the chairman. Because I'm the administrator, for you heads of local government administration, the most senior, you can operate at that level. If the chairman had 3 million as their limit of approval, I'm giving you just 500,000. That is what people...
Comrade, in his defense, when Vice Admiral Ibas made that decision, he said he moved around the local government, and what he saw informed that decision that he needs local government administrators.
Oh, you get what I'm saying?
Some will say
administrators, ordinarily, to people now, they are picking from the side of the divide. There are two sides in the administrative divide of Rivers. Now somebody is picking from the other. I've not seen who won.
But should they be picking from any divide? It shouldn't be picking from the politicians, because it's the politicians that got the state to that level.
Do you get the drift of what I'm saying? Don't they know themselves? You cannot pick anybody civilian because you are not civil.
Absolutely.
By your position.
Absolutely.
So,
right.
So you are supposed to rely on the existing structure. You understand? Whether you are from a tribe, Ijo, Ishekiri, if you are the most senior head of local government, civil servant appointed by government for that local government, then you will stand in as acting chairman.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? That is, we've had it here before. Yeah. When there were no politicians, the most senior local government. So whether it's yellow, black, man or woman, whoever is the most senior in that place takes that position.
Absolutely. All right, Comrade Father Onsi. Let's look at the situation on ground in Rivers now. Like you said, there was actually a federal gazette to show the limits of the powers of the sole administrator. He's supposed to be taking directives from the president, but so far, the president has not been issuing directives, and the sole administrator has been acting unilaterally on his own, appointing local government administrators and all that. Now, well-meaning Nigerians have started speaking up. People like Femi Falana are saying that, no, he should actually be charged to court and sued for contempt, that he is not abiding by the rules of Mr. President who appointed him. But again, the presidency has been silent. Mr. Ibas has been going about making all these appointments, and Mr. President has been silent. Just recently, the House of Representatives inaugurated a 21-man committee to now start overseeing, the functions of the sole administrator. The question again is, what have they been doing all this while? Why wait till now? The state of emergency has been declared since March 18. Why wait till now? Why do you think the House of Reps had to wait till this point after Ibas has started making a lot of appointments and all that before now inaugurating a committee to say, oh, you guys should step in and start looking at what Mr. Ibas is doing? What's your opinion to all that?
Vice Admiral Ibas is not alien to issues of this nature and knows he shouldn't go beyond purview. Do you get the drift? It might have taken the National Assembly a long time. Even members of that committee that you mentioned, members of that committee said they don't even know their terms of reference. So if they have not gotten terms of reference, what will you say you want to oversee? Because you need the terms of reference to make recourse to in your conversation with the administrator. The man is hasty. And what a position of an administrator is supposed to be is that, look, this ship must not capsize. Do you get? And by reason of training, he knows a ship that you want to just keep to shore, you just manage it till it gets to shore. You don't make other moves of maybe detouring, or you are facing shore and you should be focused on that. But now he's going into other aspects. The funds that were not given to an elected Fubara for almost 2 years of his governance, somebody is now getting access to it on a pro-term term. That's why I felt some people want to transmute our democracy. Because if there are statutes, there are rules, there are regulations, there's a gazette, towards what this person is doing, I don't think he should overshoot.
So where do you think the gap is coming from here? Where exactly is the gap coming from?
There's no error. It's deliberate. That's why I said we are...
Deliberate from who? The presidency?
But yes. Do you see one thing I have observed? And I'm being holistic about this. It's nothing, has nothing to do with... But I was shocked and surprised that President Tinubu, that was governor of Lagos State, that said the Constitution, and that's true, affirms that local governments are supposed to be under the purview of the state governor. And for 4 years, for almost 2-3 years, President Olusegun Obasanjo stopped allocation to Lagos local government. Do you get the drift?
Absolutely.
And what the presidency of Obasanjo was saying is that, yes, it is true. Local governments should be under your purview, which means Obasanjo said he was not acting against the Constitution, but rather against the creation of additional local government other than the 20 recognized by the Constitution. Do you get? But suddenly it is now the same president who was governor that thought that. So that at that point, I was thinking, wait a minute, is this not a way of hijacking the local governments from under the governors? And I tell you, if there's going to be a presidential election and the president is sure he has 744 local governments directly under his control, forget about state governors. Do you get it?
In a situation...
Because he wants to be giving money straight to the local governments, beautiful and fine. So who needs the governors?
In the case of Rivers State now, let's look closer now. Let's zoom in. According to the Nigerian Constitution, if for any reason the State House of Assembly cannot make laws, cannot function,
that's right,
then the National Assembly should step in and make laws for them. So as soon as the president declared that state of emergency, the House of Reps should have stepped in, number one. The House of Reps should have been involved in the appointment of local government administrators if they are needed, if they are necessary. But here, all this did not happen. The sole administrator was left on his own. He just went in there and started working. Like you said, you wouldn't blame him. Yes, he has been appointed. So you give someone free hand, he goes ahead doing whatever he likes doing. Why did the National Assembly keep quiet all this while? Are they, of course, a lot of people, some opinion in some quarters will say, the National Assembly, they are just being a rubber stamp. Whatever the presidency says, they just follow. So they didn't do anything. After a lot has been done, now they are waking up to say, we are setting up a 21-member committee, we are upholding democracy and all that. Do you really believe in the National Assembly at this point?
Well, I'm not talking much. I have said something here before, that you must look at the basic ingredients of state capture wherever it happens. And whoever wants to do that, you capture everywhere. When the National Assembly members were getting 160 million vehicles, a lot of people cried to high heavens. They did not say no. And so to a lot of things, by backslapping and the rest of it, because ordinarily, the thing took a long while coming. I mean, the constitution of that committee, because the National Assembly itself was confused. There were a lot of discussions as per the action of Mr. President himself, that you cannot remove democratically elected people who the Constitution says to remove a governor, you must be impeached. And when you remove a governor for some infractions, his deputy is supposed to step in. For political reasons, if you insist on the two of them, the State Assembly was to come in, the speakers. So all these are laid down rules that were not followed. And so the National Assembly itself was confused for a while, and so would have been consulting. And when I say take over, it means, so what do we do? You are taking direction from somebody you are supposed to check. Absolutely. The National Assembly is supposed to actually sit down and call. Remember the days of Galileo Manarba, of blessed memory. Do you think Galileo Manarba will allow President Obasanjo to do that unilaterally without consulting? You understand? So it's a different ball game now. It's like a tea party when you just call, okay, go and discuss tomorrow. This is your agenda. And they'll come up and say, Nigerians, this is it.
All right.
So now that they even said, this is it, the IBAS man is not even waiting for it. That's the lacuna there. You should have even waited for them to give direction before acting.
Now, we learned that the House of Reps summoned him on Wednesday to say, we need to see you, so to speak, and tell us you're working, so what you have done, because I'm sure they themselves, the National Assembly members, are getting feedback to know that, yes, even when many persons they agree with his appointment, because it's not really within our laws, so to speak, and lawyers have been talking about that. In fact, that's the position of the NBA, the national body on this matter, and they don't recognize him. In fact, we had some lawyers yesterday who referred to him as an illegal occupant of that office, and they say he's an illegal authority in Rivers State, and that was the reason they took their NBA conference away from Rivers, which is a subject matter for discussion another day. Is Femi Falana is saying, and according to him, I like to state part of what he said, is that it is common knowledge that President Bola Tinubu has not issued any regulation for the operation of the sole administrator.
That's right.
By treating the orders of President Bola Tinubu with contempt, the sole administrator has compounded the legality of his appointment, and the sole administrator ought to be removed without any further delay. And the legal luminary's position comes amid a broader political crisis in Rivers State, where the legitimacy of key appointment and the balance of powers between the state and federal government continue to generate intense debate. And I remember when the man himself came, Vice Admiral Ibas, he said he has come to stabilize. That was his language. In fact, he tried to persuade the people by saying, I'm one of you, possibly somebody who has affinity with Rivers State and all of those things. But now it seems the man was just waiting for power. Now he has it, and he's really going the full throttle with it. In the president's speech, there was a part of that where he said that, I'm trying to paraphrase now, that the man cannot make a new law, and more like he will work at the bequest of the president himself. But what we are seeing so far, so many persons are saying, does this man have a plan beyond 6 months? Because some of those things are saying have far-reaching effect, especially the appointment of sole administrator in charge of local government. If you are supposed to be there for 6 months, you could have just make do with the head of administrations that are there. And if you don't trust them, there are ways to handle that. Now you are going all of these ways. Do you agree with the position of legal Sikh, the Leonard Sikh, Falana, that he should be removed immediately? Because he has run contrary of what the person who appointed him even says he should do.
That's the law. That's the law, and it's a situation now of waiving the rules or ruling the waves. That's the law. You can imagine the kind of mindset this man took to Rivers. You went there, you are trained and all, and you could even go as far as to tell NBA to come and refund money you did not pay to them. The NBA is saying you know what the Chief Falana said? He said, compounding illegality. So it is illegal in the first instance. You are not compounding it by acting back. Look at it this way. The NBA said, yes, we want to hold this in Rivers. They were supported by Fubara administration. And at the end of the day, the whole of NBA said, no, we cannot allow this under a democracy. You are illegal, and we are moving this away from you. So you will not want to think you are now stepping into legality by relating with us. And he still had the effrontery to talk to the NBA. I was shocked. I said, this man is supposed to know better. I'm telling you, during the days of the military, during the days of military government, they want to choose administrators to local governments. When it was not democratically elected local government, they look for civil servants, most senior civil servants. However, the politics there is, the most senior civil servants must be from a local government spread. So the most senior from Osogbo might be level 14, for instance, while the most senior for Ilesha might be level 17. So you cannot pick from Ilesha to come and be sole administrator in Osogbo because they don't have a level 17. You must pick the most senior and that the administrator is comfortable with. You don't go out and pick from the streets. You don't. Because those are the only people that the law recognizes. Simplicity. You are not, I'm not surprised when the magistrate said, Laye, I won't work with you. Because you are illegal. You can't give instructions to me. That's what I will do naturally if I were to be there. I can't be a local government civil servant level 17 officer and you not tell me you are bringing somebody because in the most it is probably wicked that will pick from his camp and say, no, we have one.
We don't know yet.
Wait, what I'm saying is, I mean, that man will talk now, he will not be wicked. The guy will go boast about it. Now, what the Rivers people have seen is a militarized system, if we want to be sincere. And you can't tell Ibas, you can't fault him for bringing naval officers, even military army, regular army, to come and be around him, which means if he gives valve to any instruction now, go and help this person enter local government. See which citizens, is that not a capture?
All right.
Which citizens will come and say no? And the worst part of it is that it is tending towards allowing them access to the funds that elected people cannot touch. That's an aberration.
Okay, talking about the issue raised by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, talking about contempt on the part of Ibas. Don't you see politics playing out here? Because contempt is, there are rules, you refuse to obey the rules, but the person who gave the rules, the presidency has not said anything. So it's actually the presidency who should be saying, hey, Mr. Ibas, this is not what we asked you to do. But what if, I mean, at the back door, what if he's been taking instructions from the president all this while? Do you think the president in that case will still come out and say, oh, Mr. Ibas is acting in contempt? Femi Falana is talking as a legal practitioner, but on a broader level, on a broader view, what do you think is going on here? What if the president has been giving him instructions all this while? Do you think they really come out and agree with Falana and say, oh, this man is actually acting in contempt?
It's interesting when you are talking, you are using it interchangeably, the presidency, the president, because you remember in the days of Buhari, presidency talks more than president.
Absolutely.
But right now, I don't know whether the president is back. I'm not sure.
He's not yet back. He's not back.
Fine,
they said he'll be back after Easter.
But we've not even seen him speak. So it's the presidency that is doing most of the talking now.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we should slide back into that. The president gave directive to somebody, instructions from me, which means just keep everything status quo ante till I give you instruction. Nothing different from normal day-to-day running. This person is talking about projects we'll build for you. I mean, already. Did that instruction come from the president? Even if the president is going to devolve the powers to people to speak in the presidency, he should do that first. Right now, I'm afraid that some people are believing they are seeing Rivers as a template of trial. You want to test run something, and then you can now go and put it every other place where you think there's voice of dissent or people are of different opinion to you. You understand? I mean, you've seen people clamoring for state of emergency. You understand? I mean, nobody's talking about it in some other states where they are killing on a daily because there is a party in power there.
So you mean they are testing the patience of the people?
Not just the patience. Testing the waters is whether you like it or not. Whether you like or you know like.
Meaning if you can work here.
If you can, we put it. We use it in other places. You get so that's
which
the danger
people are you talking about?
And the danger is to democracy.
Like which people are you talking about?
Hello. All these things that the Constitution is placed aside and some actions are being taken. The president has already announced even before consulting the National Assembly, and the National Assembly was not even angry about it. Do you get the drift?
My point exactly.
So the National Assembly was not angry about it.
They ratified.
So when you talk about a capture, unfortunately, the APC chairman uses that language a lot. We'll capture, I mean, you capture slaves. You don't capture citizens. You convince citizens to support you. So
you don't think he means it maybe in the political way?
You don't get it. A deep person will not use that language for any human being.
Capture.
You capture slaves and slavery is forbidden in the whole world. You convince people to support you.
Can we look at it from this angle, comrade? Now, Femi Falana has said his opinion. He's somebody who speaks on national issues, by the way, in his own right as a lawyer. And just like you are doing right now, just like we are from this desk, some school of thought will say, whatever Ibas is doing, the Vice Admiral retired in River State, and that has been raising concerns from many persons of good conscience that are apolitical. You don't have to be a APC or PDP or Labour or any political person, to state your concern. Just like my colleague said, Daniel, he has relieved some persons. Almost every government appointee, he has made appointments that will work with him, his kitchen cabinet. He has the right to that. He has, appointed sole administrator and all of those things that is really unsettling many persons. But the president has not said either he's doing well or he's not doing well. Now, the person who appointed him appears not to have issues with it. So, can we say whatever that Ibas is doing right now is a script that he is playing out? And if the president, if I appoint somebody to work for me and he's doing all kind of a thing and I'm not talking, we can take it to say the person has my approval. Would that be right to say whatever Ibas is doing, the president is okay with it? Because if he's not okay with it, we will have called him to order. It's just a phone call away from saying, I heard you are doing this, stop it, and he will stop it. But then, whatever we have been saying, can we agree that yes, the president is fine, till he says otherwise?
I am very, very sure that it was scripted, like you said. It was scripted. And I said, testing the waters. You understand? Practice it here, let's see if it's good, then we go all the way. You get. You don't forget the mindset of some people. I'd always known our president from Nadeku days, Democrat, principled and all. But before the last election too, Mr. President said power is not served a la carte. In his campaign.
Yeah.
The video clips are there. I didn't say that. You grab, you snatch, you run with it. You don't even stop. You go ahead and run with it. So what is happening now, when people have a rewind, they'll be like, well, if you cannot get by election,
you get it by force.
You grab, you snatch, and you run. So most states where it appears the ruling party is not grounded, those are the places you say, no, we need this emergency. Bring it now. You get. But the world is watching our drama. The entire world is watching because the world is a small place. They know how things happen. What you cannot get by way of election, popular election, you want to go through the back door. And the PDP won Rivers election then. But Wike gave the presidency to APC. That's why he's part of that government in that high position.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? So to now take 360 degrees and turn around and say, I'll still make the whole state back to APC. It was difficult because when the honorable members tried it, by number, that was going to be the end of PDP. But how do you now organize another local government election when Fubara is still the governor? You get. That's their fear. If not, those ones wouldn't have turned back to say they are not going. They are already in spirit, body and soul, APC. But it's just because of the position of the law about that direction that made them go back. So to me, I strongly believe that everything happening now is just a script and it's playing out to those who are in it the way they want it.
All right, comrade. Fadansi. Looking at Rivers State, we're supposed to be practicing a democracy in Nigeria. Rivers State is an oil-rich state, and we have all this drama playing out. And like you rightly stated, the world is watching. But away from Mr. President and the sole administrator he appointed, some people will say, what if they are actually working hand in glove? So away from both of them, my concern is the National Assembly. Because the executive has tendency to abuse power. That's why we have checks and balances in democracy. Are you not concerned that our National Assembly are acting the way they are acting. They've decided, so to speak, to abdicate their role in this case. The National Assembly should be the ones sitting up and saying, no, this is how it should be done. They should be the ones calling the shots. But unfortunately, the National Assembly are just watching, just acting as a robot. Are you not concerned as a Nigerian? What do you think? What effect do you think the state of the National Assembly in Nigeria will have on democracy on this nation?
Well, the effect is gone. That we've left that stage. If you recall the time we were discussing the issue of members of political parties going to APC from the National Assembly, I told you that it's just a matter of time. A lot of governors will go into that same party. And I said something then that, look, it is now going to be a question of conscience. That are you going because the party and the government it runs is making Nigerians happy? It's because of power, no other reason. It's not because they have met the needs and yearnings of Nigerians. It is not because life has become so easy for Nigerians that you think, no, you can't fault a good person that is delivering. But when it comes to political patronage, you need it because you might be in trouble. Before the next election, I see a lot of governors that's why I said those who are the real people will stay on one side because the professional politicians, most will port into that party. Whether it's destroying the economy or not, they don't care.
All right.
So to me, the issue of National Assembly, I've left that because the checks that is to be the balance is already in the executive.
All right.
So you can't check and balance what you don't have powers over. You are just to abide.
So you are saying the National Assembly is powerless as it is right now?
It's gone. It's part of the executive, and we are only hoping, and I repeat it severally, that the bench and the bar can help Nigerian democracy out in this instance. That's the reality.
But when the executive, comrade, if the executive and the National Assembly, the legislature, if they connive, what can the bench and the bar do?
The bench and the bar will still come back to that document that established their existence, which is the Constitution, which are the laws of the land. Do you get the drift? So even if they do all the nonsense that is possible to be done, those are supposed to be the checks and the real balance. And you know the scale of justice is blind. It goes by reason of the real law. But you will discover on every issue that is in Nigeria today, the senior advocates will represent side A and they will still be on side B.
All right.
Rely on some
we
issues.
must go.
So we must really go.
We must go on a break right now. We understand, and it's an interesting conversation actually. And, it's about the soul of this nation, and it's about the constitutionality of everything that we do, either in Rivers or in Kauranamuda, somewhere in Kaduna, in Borno, in Osun, even at the national level in Nigeria. Trust us to keep talking about these issues. We'll go on this quick break. When we return, we speak to other issues. Stay with us.